Just a couple of days ago, Claude released this new computer use feature, which is available for developers for now. And if you are in automation space or if you are a business owner, you should pay attention to this. In this video, I want to show you how to set it up, how to run it on a virtual machine and then on your own machine. I use Windows, and there are not so many tutorials on how to run this model on Windows machine, so this is what I will show you in this video, and we will take a look at what are possibilities and what are limitations of this new model. Before we begin, to those new to the channel, my name is Nadia. I have a software development background. I worked as a software developer for over a decade, and since last year I help companies to implement AI solutions, and I build low-code and code tools for companies to optimize their workflow and streamline their processes. So if you are here to educate, feel free to watch this video, repeat those steps, and set up computer use feature by yourself. But if you need help with implementing solutions, then feel free to reach out to me and book a call with me or connect with me on LinkedIn. I have been posting there for over a year and constantly share very useful updates and projects which I work on. So now let's get into the setup. So what we have actually here, Claude 3.5 Sonnet, a new model. It is still 3.5, but they introduced this new API for developers, which is still experimental. If you haven't seen yet the capabilities of this model, I highly recommend you to watch the video on this initial landing page, and then you will understand, or just let's watch and see what we can do. So they actually shared a GitHub repo where you can set it up, and that is what we are going to do right now. How are we going to do it? So let's go to this Anthropic quick start, and then we go to code, and there are two options. We first can clone it on our local machine, or we can download a zip file. Let's download a zip file. Okay. Then we are going to extract all the files to this quick start guide, and then in the quick start guide, yep, here it is. We actually don't need anything apart from computer use demos, so feel free to remove the remaining two directories, and then we need to use this computer use demo. So let's start Visual Studio. And now we will navigate, we will open a folder and go to our new quick start, to this computer use demo. Okay, and we, yes, we need to select this one. So we are here and we see a Docker file, and let's get back to their installation guides. Go to the computer use demo. And here is what they suggest us to. So first is we need to actually run this, we will be running this Anthropic API. And for that, you first need to get your Anthropic API key. If you don't have it yet, then you go to console Anthropic. If you use Claude, you can also find it here and go to API console. On the console, you will go to get API key and you create a new key, and it's important just save it somewhere and we will be using it later. So we need to export our API key and then run this Docker command. First, you need to install Docker. If you don't know what Docker is, it's a tool that allows you to run virtual machines on basically your machine. And you can register there for free. Download, so I downloaded already this one and installed Docker. Okay, now I already have one container. If you are using it for the first time, probably we will have nothing there. So what we do next, we go back and see we need to actually run this command. So we'll go back to our Visual Studio, go to terminal, to new terminal, and there we will need to paste this command. Instead of Anthropic API key, you enter your API key and we just run this command. I had to modify the command a little bit because I run it on Windows, so you need to modify home. So instead of home, yeah, we do this environment profile and so on. If you encounter errors like that, then you can just go to ChatGPT and ask it about how to modify it for Windows, and then copy this command and you are good to go. After that, you can see that a new container has been added in our Docker window, this one, and it is currently running. We also see that our process is ready on localhost. Let's go and follow this link. And here we are on our machine. Let's wait until it's connected. So what you need to do here, just open this one, this side panel, and then copy your API key to this field. On the left side, we have a chat with Claude that has access to our machine. Why don't we run it on our local machine for now? This is because if you give access to your machine, then Claude can make, Claude basically has access to your command line and PowerShell, so it can delete some files which are critical for function of your computer, and that is not what we want. So it is much safer to use it in a virtual environment. Okay, there is actually one task which I want to give this agent and test how it works. So a short story behind it is that just a couple of days ago, I was working on a project where I needed to take a screenshot of a page. Usually a user just goes there, types something, and then you need to take a screenshot. And I was able to get the data via API, but not a screenshot. And even though there is a software that allows you to take those screenshots, it wasn't possible basically to open a page already with all those fields pre-filled. So that didn't allow me to automate the whole process that my client did completely. And now let's see if this tool can help to do this. I prepared a prompt and I will paste it here. Now we click on this run button and let's see what happens. So we are waiting. You see, it started to process our query and started to analyze what is possible, what it's not. So it now wants to open Firefox. And in the meantime, we see all the screenshots and the thoughts which this agent has. So yeah, you see, it opened the browser. Now it will go, I assume, yeah, that it will try to navigate to the website. Okay, now it should do the thing. Yes, it finally figured out how to go to our web page, and now it should enter the URL of that we requested. Okay, it's doing something. Yes, finally, it find out. Yeah, by the way, my hands are here, so obviously it's not me who is clicking. It is our Claude extension. So it started running and waiting. Wow. So you see, it's even closed that cookie pop-up, which I constantly get and which is very distracting. And now it's waiting. So you see, it says that let's wait for the analysis to complete, and then it wants to take a screenshot. And during all that process, so it makes all those screenshots, and then it analyzes those screenshots with vision, and that is how it is able to understand what's going on and where also to click on different buttons. Okay, it is trying to scroll it, but it can't. And now it's trying to figure out what to do and how to scroll the page. wow, it finally figured it out. As you can see, this tool is very slow. It might be because I'm on a low tier in my API usage, or just in general it's slow, but it's definitely much slower than on those demos which we see on Claude's landing page. It opened an inspector. Now it is trying to take a screenshot. Yes, it's trying to use Firefox native screenshot feature. But I have to say that I'm impressed. I tried to do it yesterday, and yesterday it didn't work honestly that well. And I learned that if you want this to work better, then you need to specify those actions very precisely. So you need to say what to do. You need to say that it needs to wait on the page for some time. You need to say which tools to use if you want it to work quicker. So you would, in this case, specify that use native Firefox screenshot feature as well, but I give it some room for thought, and you see it is working pretty well. Okay, now I've got an error that, yeah, I basically got my rate limit error. And if you're on a low tier like me, I'm on the first or the second one and haven't been using Claude much, so you would get this error once in a while about rate limits. Okay, it stopped, so I want to try again. And since it's already on this page, then let's continue from the place where we stopped. So now let's say that take a full page screenshot and save it to the desktop. So it even figured out that there is no desktop directory, and now it's creating it, and it saved the screenshot. Wow. We can even open the directory for me. So you see, it finally managed it. It installed all the needed packages, and now it displayed it for me. I would say this is absolutely awesome. And now we can take a look at the screenshot. Now I can take control over the screen. This is our screenshot. Okay, it is not the full screenshot as I expected, but we have what we have. We can even try again. Okay, it has managed to do something, and it again encountered my token limitations. But I have to say that this system is definitely much more proficient in Linux system than I am. And this is absolutely impressive. So just imagine how much you can do with this feature, and if you add this as a tool to your actual agents or other apps. Now, before we move on to how to install it on your local machine, I want to show you one more thing. So we'll first stop this. We stop the container, or you can stop it from here. Before we move on, I want to mention that there have been other tools which were intended to do absolutely the same. And like this startup, Multion, it has been focusing on how to navigate desktop applications, and they actually have their API. But let's take a look, and I will show you what are the limitations of Multion and why Claude computer tools are, well, in some way better. Here we will go to login. I already have an account, and I have been using them for quite some time just to experiment and see what is possible. And now this layout may seem very similar to what we have just seen in our virtual environment. So let's give this tool the same task and see how it performs it. I copy the similar prompt here, and again, I will update it. You can already imagine what the problem will be here. Here we don't basically have our desktop. And unlike Claude that has access to our bash tool or our command tool, this platform doesn't have any tools like that, and you can't access, it doesn't have that file management system in place or screenshot tools or whatever. So it did its job very well. It basically said that the page has loaded even when it actually has not loaded yet. But you see, it says that it needs assistance, even though it was much quicker than Claude with its tools. This one is quick, but it cannot perform those operations like screenshot taken or other operations that you would usually do on your computer. But on the other hand, you can ask it to extract some data. And for example, what is the performance score, and what are the issues with the analyzed website. Let's see if it can actually read from the page and see what's there. Yep, it could extract all this data from this screen and output it, and there is also a retrieve feature. It doesn't seem to work for me because I assume it only works for paid users. But again, it is impressive, and it has an API, so in theory you can use it for making those like changes and extracting data from multiple pages. I have not tested it. There is a limitation though for sure with Multion, is that it cannot solve CAPTCHA. And I guess this is a common problem that we will face because those tools, they usually have guardrails built in, and they don't allow you to do actions that are not intended to be done by robots. And now I will walk you through how I made it work on my local machine. I would definitely not recommend you to do the same, especially if you are not technical, because it can run any command and it can destroy your computer as well. We have just copied this computer use demo from the repo which Claude provides, and in order to run it on our machine, we don't need to have those files. We only need to have this computer use demo. We don't need the Docker image and tests. We basically need to navigate back there and also make some changes. And I have already done that in another folder. What we do here, basically I removed all those files, created a copy, and then modified different tools. Let's take a look at what we have here. First, we have a Streamlit. This is the UI that you have seen on our virtual environment, the one with the chat. And I guess I haven't changed anything there. Then we have a loop. So loop is what is happening when you ask those questions, and Claude constantly monitors what is the next action that needs to be done. And then we have all those tools, and tools is what makes this special. So we have a computer tool, and we actually need to modify it in order for it to work on Windows. And then we have bash and bash tool and run tool. And what I did, I copied what was there and then asked Claude in a regular chat to modify it for to be applicable to Windows as well. And it just added those lines for Win32 for another platform to be compatible with Windows as well, because otherwise if you just start this app, it will not work. It will probably work on Mac, but it did not work on Windows, and I had to make quite some changes. One important thing is that if you decide to run it on your own machine, go to computer, and then you need to set width and height. Here, set it to your desktop resolution. Without it, it will not work properly. And then also in loop we have the system prompt, and I had to modify it a little bit. I have seen that some people complain that if you run this tool, the overall tool, then it likes Firefox a lot. And the reason it likes Firefox is because Firefox was mentioned here inside system prompt. So I modified it a bit again, and I modified this time command as well a little bit. So I added that it is using Windows, so it's not a prompt that is written by me. It is just slightly modified from the original one. So I said that you operate in a Windows machine, and instead of bash tool, Claude renamed this tool to command tool, basically for me. Yeah, here. So it now is, it used to be called bash session and bash command, and now it is just command tool. If you want to modify, so yeah, go here to the loop and modify the prompt to whatever you want, but be mindful, and also modify this bash, computer, and run tool. And now we also will need to go to our terminal. You can also click Ctrl-Shift-P, and we need to run it in a virtual environment. So we will select, make sure to select interpreter. It works well only with this 3.9 Python version. Then we want to create our virtual environment. I already have it. If you don't have, then run this command and then activate this environment as well. We activate it and then install all the requirements. Okay, I forgot that I didn't move to the final directory. You need to be inside Computer Use demo, and then let's do it again. The last step is just to run our app. Now the app is loaded, and it should be opened in this new window. It is still operating on our local machine, and it has access to everything. You again need to enter your API key if you have not done this already. And now let's see how it will work on Windows. I use the same command, so we will be navigating to the same site and run the same analysis for the same website. But this time I asked it to use a screenshot tool, screenshot extension. It didn't work yesterday, so I'm very curious if it will work today. And then, yes, it should save it to the default location. And it's important not to do anything on the screen. Well, I'm already over my daily limit, so give me a moment. Okay, I now have created another account and another API key, and let's see how it works this time. Fingers crossed. Okay, see, it is navigating. By the way, my hands are here. So again, it's not me, but it is operating my machine, and it is a little bit scary. It is not very convenient to not see what is going on, so I will actually make it like this. We again exceeded the rate limit there. Okay, let's do it one more time. And this time I will not say which tool to use to make the screenshot. And save it to the downloads folder. Let's try this one. Yeah, it figured out, but it didn't figure out that there was already something in the field. It's interesting, right? To see that it cannot understand what's going on. So it's trying to type again. Oh no. It's actually funny. I doubt it will be able to understand how to fix it, and that it needs to... Okay, it's actually closed the window. It apologized, and it seems that there might be an issue. Okay, so it did not figure out that it needs to erase what was there in the field, and it actually failed to complete the operation. Let's give it one more try. Try again. Open a new page in a new window. It doesn't know that it needs to open a browser. Okay, I doubt that it will be able to complete this task. Let's help it a little bit. And yes, again, we exceeded our rate limits. Try again. Use Chrome browser and open a new tab and a new window. Let's see what happens. Oh wow, it managed to open the browser this time. Okay, it's trying to do the same thing again. You see, those are the limitations of those tools, that if you say it to a human to do this task, then humans will have no problems. But machines are totally different, and I like how we see it here, that how machine thinks is totally different to how a human would behave in this situation. And we have hit the rate limit. Okay, shall I give it some tips? I should say that clear the input box before you enter the URL and try again. It didn't figure it out. Again, you see what it does. Let's do a third round. And I will close this page. I will open a new tab for it. Then I will reload everything, because as you can imagine, all the message history, it goes into the prompt, into the actual, it is being sent to the server, and I guess Claude counts all the tokens. So if it's a long thread, then we use our tokens very quickly. And now let's again enter our message. Okay, it even identified that we have that page speed among those frequently used pages, and it should do the trick now. I hope so, I really hope so. It looks like it haven't entered the URL. Okay, it entered it. And now we're just waiting for it to complete. Much better than before, right? You can even see that it thinks that the analysis is still running. And let's wait a moment. I really like this thinking process in those agents, that they are able to understand what's going on and they are not mindlessly just taking screenshots. It took screenshot, but I don't like that it didn't scroll to the stats that I asked it to. So it understands that it is operating Windows and it can use some commands. I'm not sure that Control S is the best command to save it. So it says that it has completed our task. Probably it confused the speed indicators with what I actually wanted to see and save. Let's see if we actually have this. Nope, I don't have it here. I'm curious where it actually saved this file and if it did save it. Okay, but I like that it actually output those speed metrics here. It says that it saved it to the download folder, but we haven't seen it there, right? Let's ask it actually, where did you save the file? Can you open it? It is quite slow because I don't know actually why it is so slow. So it took some time to restart the application. It tried to do something. It did. And then it failed. It tried to use Linux command. Okay, let's stop the experiment here. I have not found where it saved the screenshot, and I stopped the application. At least it tried to do its best. And everything apart from saving the screenshot, which I assume doesn't work only because I had to modify those tools to work on Windows instead of working on Linux systems. So in overall, I'd say that it is impressive, especially when it is running on my working machine. And it is super weird, I'd say, to see how it navigates all those browsers and is still trying to type those things. While that is, by the way, one of the limitations, that it needs to move the cursor on your screen. So you cannot do anything at the same moment while it is working. But if you operate it in a virtual environment, that will be great. Now let's talk a little bit about not so inspiring moments about this technology is actually price. So when I go there, just a couple of minutes ago, when I topped up my balance by $5, and those basic operations like navigating and doing screenshots, so what you have seen in the last 5 minutes or so, it took basically $2 to complete, which I would say in comparison to what we used to have before is quite a high price for this. And you are basically paying for it to learn and to figure out what is going on. So it's not so budget friendly, unfortunately, but I would try to do minor improvements. And that is for you to just see how many tokens it consumes. And as you have also seen, that I constantly run into those rate limit issues, which you shouldn't have if you are on a higher tier. Like if you have spent $40 or so, then you should have a little 3 times more actually tokens a day than I do have. Let's address an elephant in the room, because if we go back to the actual computer use demo repository, from official one from Claude, then it reads that in some circumstances Claude will follow commands found in content, even if it conflicts with the user's instructions. And I find this is very interesting. You might have seen already that when GPT-4o with Vision was released, then people experimented with writing instructions on pieces of paper and attaching those instructions, and actually given another instructions to GPT, and GPT followed those instructions found on the piece of paper. And here it is the same. So when you are operating a machine, I assume you definitely don't want it to follow the instructions that are found on the screen rather than in the instructions. And I find it to be a limiting factor as well to which operations this tool can perform. And Claude also mentioned somewhere on those pages that they don't want users to automate social media, probably because they want to avoid spamming and want to discourage that automating behavior from people. So if you were hoping to automate your social media and comments, AI comments, everyone loves them. So if you wanted to do it, you will not be able to do so, I assume. That's it for today. Those are my experiments that I have run today. And if you have experimented, let me know how it went for you. And if you need help with AI solutions and automations, then feel free to reach out to me. See you in the next video. Bye.